G'day, Nigel here from Sax School. Hey, thanks for joining me for part 3 of the Beginner Saxophone Quickstart course. In this lesson for tenor sax, we're going to learn our first 6 notes. In fact, I might even show you 7, and we're going to learn a really cool tune as well. Lots to talk about. Just a quick reminder that in part 1, we talked about how to assemble your saxophone, your mouthpiece, your reed. And in part 2, we talked about tonguing and we learned our very first song. Now this lesson is for tenor saxophone, but if you're an alto player or a bari player, or you just want to check out the previous lessons in this series, all the links for that are down below. And I would suggest you go check out the previous lessons before digging into this one today. Okay, let's get stuck in. So let's get cracking straight away and talk about our left hand. Now if you've got your saxophone handy, grab it out and you can work through this lesson with me. So first of all, if you remember in the first lesson in this series, we spoke about where to stick your thumbs on the saxophone. So your left thumb goes on the button at the back, at the top of the saxophone. And then your right thumb goes underneath the hook that's at the back as well, but down toward the bottom of the saxophone. So get your thumbs in the right position, and then let's talk about our left index finger, our nose picker. So sometimes saxophones can look different than mine here, but if you look at the front of my saxophone, you can see at the very top I've got this spatula shaped key. We're not going to use that one. Instead, we're going to stick our first finger on the first pearl just below that. So see how that feels underneath your fingers? With our first finger pushing down that pearl, that's the note B, and it sounds like this. So have a go at playing the note B, but remember to get that V shape that we talked about in lesson 1. And use lots of air as well, so push the air out from right down to the bottom of your lungs down here to fill the saxophone up with air. So let's move on to the second note. So if we look just below the B key, we've got this tiny little pearl. We're not going to use that one, we're going to skip it and instead put our middle finger on the second pearl. So those two fingers down together is the note A. And the note A sounds like this. So the third note on our left hand is the next pearl straight down, and that's with our ring finger. 3 fingers down, 1, 2, 3 is the note G, and G sounds like this. All right, awesome. So let's try doing all of those 3 notes one after the other. We're going to start with B, and then we're going to move to A, and then we're going to move down to G. But what I'd really like you to do is to start every note with our tongue. So we're going to go 2, 2, 2. You ready? Here we go. Oh, sorry, just having a quick tea break and checking the TikTok before we crack on with the rest of the lesson. You know, it's fun to learn a song like we're going to in the lesson today, but imagine if you had access to like 1,000 lessons and so hundreds of other songs, plus also sessions where you could come along and have live stream sessions with a tutor and actually get help. I mean, that's an amazing thing. And all of that is what's included inside Sax School. Now, as I'm filming this, we have got a 14-day trial running. If you want to go check out what we're doing, we're helping literally thousands of students every single day. There's a link down below where you can go and check it out. Right, I'm going to finish my cuppa and then we can crack on with the rest of the lesson. So let's have a look at our right hand. Now before we talk about where our fingers go on our right hand, it's important to know that with saxophone we only put our right fingers down if our left hand fingers are down first. So we're always adding fingers on as we go down the saxophone. So there's just 3 pearls on the right hand for our saxophone, which makes it dead easy. Our index finger goes on the top one and that's the note F. It sounds like this. If we add our second finger, then we get the note E, and E sounds like this. And by adding our third finger, our ring finger with our right hand, that means we've got 6 fingers down. That's the note D, and D sounds like this. Okay, let's try all 6 of those notes in order. So we're going to start with B, and we're going to work our way all the way down to the note D. Here we go. You ready? Okay, let's take a quick minute to talk about the science behind how instruments work. We all know that bigger instruments like this baritone saxophone, for example, are really low. They sound low. Big instruments sound low. Whereas tiny instruments like this little piccolo sound super high. So long instruments sound low and short instruments sound high. Now that's an important thing to remember when we're learning saxophone, because when we're adding fingers on as we're playing different notes, we're actually making the tube longer or shorter. For example, if we think about the note B, the tube is only from the mouthpiece down to just below the B key. That's kind of short. Whereas when we play the note D, the tube is longer because it's from the mouthpiece all the way down to below the D key. So like I was saying earlier, just remember you always need to have your left hand down if you're having your right hand down. But just like any good rule, there is an exception to it, and that's the note C, which is a little bonus extra note that I just want to show you quickly here. So the note C is dead easy. What we use is our middle finger of our left hand just by itself. So we literally just press down the middle key there. That's the note C, and it sounds like this. The other thing to quickly mention is that in music we use the first 7 letters of the alphabet, A down to G, A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. But in music, when we get to G, we go back to A, and it goes around and around forever. In fact, an easier way to think of this is that as we go up the letters in the alphabet, we go up in pitch, so it gets higher, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, and after we get to G, we go back to A again, and we keep going up, A to G again, then A to G again. It also works the same in the other direction, so if you know your alphabet backwards, do you know your alphabet backwards? You're going down lower in pitch. So if we start on A again and go back to G, A down to G, F, E, D, C, B, A, G, F, E, D. Keep going all the way down. So now you understand all this, let's take the 6 notes that we've learned and put them into a piece. Here we go. So I've written a fun little song for us to learn in today's lesson called Walkin' Home, and it uses all of those 6 notes. In fact, it uses the 7th note as well, the middle C that we learned just a second ago. So the nice thing about this tune is it's quite repetitive, and in fact the first 2 bars we get to play them 3 times. Have a listen now to what the first 2 bars sound like, and then we'll learn how to play those notes step by step. Rightio, let's learn those notes. So it starts on the note C, and that's, remember, your middle finger with your left hand, and then we go down to the A, which is the first 2 fingers of our left hand. Nothing happened with our right hand here. So we go C, A, C, C, A. Grab your sax. Do you want to try that with me? Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. C, A, C, C, A. Now just a little side note here, it's a really good idea to always practice a new tune like this, just doing your fingers, not even blowing. If you can get your fingers right, then it's time to start doing some playing. So if you're comfortable with your fingers, let's try playing through this now. I'm going to pop the backing track back on, but what I'd like you to think about doing is make sure you use that V shape, and I want you to try starting each of these notes with the tongue. So it's going to be 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. Here we go. All right, brilliant. Now, if we look at the music, we can see that that pattern actually happens 3 times. Here's the first time, here's the second time, and then on the next line, there's the 3rd time. Now, there's just 2 more bars in this piece of music, and that's a completely different phrase, and it sounds like this. So let's look at the notes for those last 2 bars. Now, this time we start on the note C, and we're going to run all the way down to low D. So go C, B, A, G, F, E, and then we go D up to G. So just think about that movement from D with 3 fingers of our left hand, and then we lift all 3 of those fingers to get up to G. D, G. So let's try doing our fingers one more time, and we're going to kind of do it in tempo this time. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. C, B, A, G, F, E, D, G. Okay, let's just try playing that 2 bars, but in time with the backing track. Have a listen to the music so you can come in together with me. Here we go. Okay, there's just two more things we need to learn about this piece of music. First of all, the whole song is repeated. So we play that first 2-bar phrase 3 times, and then we've got that new second 2-bar phrase that we've just learned. But after that, we go back to the beginning, we play the first phrase 3 times again, then we play that second phrase, and then we go to our very last note, and for us that's dead easy. It's just a nice long C. Let's have a go at putting it into action. I'm going to pop the backing track on and let's play it all the way through together. Now don't forget you can use the speed controls on the video here to slow it down if you just need a little bit more time. Here we go. Hey, that was awesome. Now the next step is to unlock the whole next range on the saxophone. There's a whole bunch more notes that you can play, and it's actually really easy to get them out. I'm going to show you that in the next lesson, plus I'm going to show you a whole nother song that'll get your fingers going and make you really comfortable on the saxophone, particularly with this next important transition. So keep practicing hard. Don't forget to use this lesson as much as you need, and I'll catch you when you're ready on the next lesson.